All right. Good morning, everyone. Must be Monday for all kinds of reasons. But as usual, we're here with a new episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. I'm Adam Smith with Just the Tips Coaching, and with me, as always, is our marketing director, Jen Weibauer. Good morning, Jen. Jen, are you there? Okay, good. And our guest this week is actually a very local agent to our market here in Southeast Denver, Alexandria McCutcheon. Good morning, Alexandria.
Hey, everybody.
So let's just dive right in. Obviously, we've got a pretty good handle on who you are and where you've come from and what you've done, but obviously our audience doesn't. So our normal MO would be to get a little bit of background on how real estate became a career path or a career change for you, but you've always been involved in real estate in your entire adult life, basically.
Basically, ever since I left high school, I just landed a job at a very small mom and pop shop or mom and pop real estate company, and I've been doing it since 2004. I absolutely love it.
That is a long time. And tell us about those auspicious beginnings. How did that start for you? What were you doing as your first job in the real estate business? I mean, it was administrative, it was marketing. What were you up to back in '04?
So in 2004, I actually started a small mom and pop shop, or mom and pop real estate company, and literally I was setting showings. So I was the first person you saw walking in the door, and we did not have awesome centralized showing services. We had to do it on paper and call the seller and then call the other person back. So it was a very long process. From there, I became an admin assistant for the same company and then was asked to join RE/MAX and left for RE/MAX, doing the same thing, receptionist, setting showings, admin assistant for 40 plus agents, and it really taught me a lot. So again, it was a great avenue to start, my successful career in real estate.
Okay, so right off the bat, that speaks volumes about the fact that you have seen the technology in the industry from literally infantile stages to its current modern format in basically every avenue of what goes on in the real estate practice.
Yep.
That's cool.
I was actually chatting with somebody recently in my office. They're brand new agents, and I said, no, at least you just have to call instead of showing, and you have GPS. Back in the day, we had, those books where you pull the address number, you pull that back of the book, you look it up, and it gives you like a letter and a number, and then you have to go and flip to find out where the property is, and then you're driving, you give yourself extra time, and you're at the wrong property. So yes, technology is huge in today's real estate world. Everybody that's just joining should be truly blessed because we had to work really hard to get where we are today.
That's funny. We've certainly seen that kind of evolution in the mortgage lending world and certainly just in lead generation type of stuff from A to Z. Right. But let's go back to that. When did you first make your transition from being an admin to being a real estate agent?
So probably about 2010, I went into a personal assistant position and for a RE/MAX agent. I asked for a raise, and he said the only way I can give you a raise is if you become a buyer's agent on the weekends and the evenings. And I said, heck yeah, let's do it. My kids were teeny tiny, had no idea, so I really hit it hard and became very successful at that. And then was doing that for about a year on the team, and then decided Keller Williams was the place to be, and I've been solo since. And again, it's just a great, I'm blessed because I got to see it from the bottom to go up. Like, I have a lot of knowledge because I'd say at the bottom and then climbing that ladder so that I can be very knowledgeable. However, we know in the career of real estate, there's always something we learn every single day. So.
Yeah, that's the truth. Well, and not only is that true for a lot of our viewers and clients and colleagues, and certainly your brethren and my brethren on the mortgage lending side, But on top of all of that, our industries are very dynamic. They're constantly evolving all by themselves, whether or not we stay on top of it or not. I'm hoping that all of you watching are, and I can certainly attest to that being the case for our office, and obviously for Alexandria's operation, because she wouldn't be where she is today if she had remained stagnant in a very dynamic business. So tell us, when you first started as an agent, and really started to go out on your own, what did your lead generation look like? Now, it's going to be very different for you than a lot of our previous guests, and certainly for a lot of you watching. But I'd like to know what the basis of that was. And Patrick, hang on there. We will certainly get to your question in a moment. Let's let Alexandria elaborate on that question first.
So when I first started, when I was solo by myself, I actually was terrified. I'm not a shy person, but when it came to working my sphere, like, I thought, okay, I'm just going to send a letter in the mail, snail mail. I'm not going to do anything, just going to send a letter. However, the more I got into it, it's all about those relationships and establishing those relationships. So calling people, texting people, Facebook messaging. One year I was known as the Facebook queen in my office because that's where I got all my leads, and they were closing, and it was huge. So really, ultimately, it's just sticking to your spirit and loving those people and continuing to love those people. If you don't start there and continue, like, just giving them hugs, sending them little things throughout the year, you're not going to be successful in the lead gen world. I do door knocking, but everybody laughs at me in the office because I always take a trash bag with me. I've been doing this on my own since about 2010, but I always feel like I'm going to throw up because it's terrifying. However, you get leads and you close and you're fine. And they're like, okay, I got this.
So the trash bag is actually to collect your own vomit.
I've never thrown up.
Okay.
Yes.
I was waiting for the story there. I'm like, why would you bring a trash bag door knocking? Are you collecting garbage? Okay, I get it. That's absolutely fantastic.
But once you're out of that comfort zone, you're growing. So that's the rule of thumb. If you're comfortable, you're not going anywhere. If you're uncomfortable, you're moving.
Absolutely push your boundaries, no question. And I do want to reiterate something that Alexandria said that I want to make sure you guys all key in on. Her sphere is crucial to her. And you guys have all heard me say this 100 times. If you're not in touch with your past clients, they're now somebody else's prospects. So that kind of contact management, it's kind of the basis of what we do here at Just the Tips. And I certainly want to make sure that you guys understand that some of the very best producing guests that we have on this show, whether they're mortgage originators or real estate agents or even car salespeople, whatever the case may be, know that their database, their sphere, their past clients, their contacts are key to continuing propelling their success. All right, so Patrick, I don't want to ignore you. I do want to get to your question, although I'm not sure that it really circumnavigates the subject of what we're discussing on How I Met Your Mortgage each week. But Patrick asks, he says, I'm curious, Alexandria, do you know how the process changes for buyers when there is a loan for solar panels attached to the property? This is obviously also a lending question. And Patrick, will, in a really brief manner, there's so many unknowns in your question. Are those solar panels leased or owned? Are they tied to the property? We're obviously discussing that there's a lien on title, so it would have to be paid off. That collateral probably changes hands with the house itself. So there are quite a few different avenues as far as whether they're leased or owned, whether or not they're being removed or left in place. So there are a lot of different potential answers to that question when it comes to buyers purchasing a home with solar panels. From a lending perspective, what's your take on it, Alexandria?
Absolutely. Same thing that you said, to touch briefly on it. As well as I don't think it's as difficult as many people say it's difficult. For example, I've had a couple transactions this year with them. The buyer just has to apply, if they're assuming the lease from the seller, they have to apply and qualify for them if they are not being removed and they're not owned outright. So I would just do your research and check with the company that owns the solar panels.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so back to the lecture at hand. Obviously, you've morphed into a successful agent from relatively experienced, educated, but humble beginnings. Tell us what you're up to these days. I assume you still exercise your sphere, that you're still ridiculously active on Facebook, both incredible things for those of you watching your sphere, your contact management, your social media, whether that's Facebook, Insta. Obviously, you've got to identify your audience. I'm an old guy, so Facebook is really where my clan hangs out. That's where I find my tribe. Tell us what you're up to these days, Alexandria, for your lead generation, that is.
Sure, absolutely. So actually, at Keller Williams, I'm part of the ALC, which is called the Agent Leadership Council.
Yeah.
We are examples for the other agents in the office. So number one is lead gen. We, every day from 9 to 11, have our own ways of lead generating. I am now moved on from the Facebook queen to the texting queen. I will follow up with all of my clients, send them a quick message. Facebook is a huge avenue. I always tell the new guys that, hey, go to Facebook if you haven't heard from a client for a while, find out what they're up to, and check in with them. For example, your client just had their new daughter. Hey, how are things going with the baby? Do you need anything? Can I send you anything? Those kind of things. Again, it's just making those people feel loved and appreciated by you, and not just after constantly like, hey, do you need to buy or sell? Do you need somebody to buy or sell? Again, relationship.
Relationships.
We actually have contests in our office all the time. Yeah, we have contests all the time in here about who can, contact, I don't know, let's say 100 people in a day. Again, just having those like avenues, Facebook, text messaging, emails, whatever is your go-to, find that one thing that works for you and stick to it.
And that's good, because I wholeheartedly agree and teach and coach something very, very similar. Of those things, you find something that really floats your boat, that you can make your own, that you can make malleable, really fit it to you. How many different types of things do you think you're up to that way? We already know that you exercise your sphere, that you are, maybe you've tapered off on the Facebook, the social media, but the texting is obviously a very big one. Are there any others that you've kind of put into that fold that you're exercising?
I would say the biggest in the past couple of years is having that client appreciation party. Just have those that you are currently in business with, past people, and future business. And again, the appreciation relationship, I'm going to stress that today on just having those people come out, have conversations with those. There's one thing that I shy from, though, is family settings. I'm working on that one and being more social, because if you put me into real estate, I will talk your ear off all day, any day. You come to the office, great. However, family settings, don't talk. So I need to be better at that one. But again, the client appreciation party is a big one for me the past couple of years. It's a lot of fun, and you don't have to talk about real estate at all. You can talk about what's going on in their life.
How often are you doing those client appreciation events?
So I was only doing one a year, but now I'm doing 3 a year. And they're little things such as happy hour. Last October, I did family photos in my backyard, which was a huge success. Hire a photographer, and they come in and they have time slots, and you keep it open from 4 hours. You don't have to keep it open the whole day, but each person comes in and everybody just loves that piece. The Rockies game, that's fun. You can, have a beer with your clients. So at least 3 to 4 times, once a quarter.
That's brilliant. And so based on that kind of stuff, you're probably touching your clients, leads, advocates. For those of you watching, you've probably seen that's how we refer to them. Anybody who's done business with you, anybody who's going to do business with you, or anybody who could refer business to you, clients, leads, and advocates. So with that formula, Alexandria, you're probably touching people at least a half a dozen times a year that way.
Yeah, the more the better. You stay in front of their mind that way.
Top of mind. Also a very important sales 101, lead generation 101 kind of thing. So for those of you watching here, this is really, really valuable stuff that Alexandria is spooning out here. I hope you guys are paying close attention. Okay, so Alexandria, tell us, what do you see going forward? What's currently hot in lead generation techniques, tactics, activities? What do you think that's going to look like in 2020, 2021? And then give us some, well, you know what, let's do that, and then I'll delve into the future of Alexandria.
Okay, sounds good. So right now, like I said earlier, is texting. I've noticed in 2019, you call somebody, they will respond to you via text message. I even do that. So make sure that you're reaching out to people via text or email or whatever their favorite way of contact is. I have to keep myself accountable. I help with the productivity coaching in my office, so they ask me how I'm lead generating, and I keep myself accountable by telling them, as well as they are also following what I'm showing them. So absolutely love being able to just, again, there's that relationship piece again, even with the PC group here.
There are actually a few things you hit on there that are just ingrained in you, so it seems casual. But for our audience, I want you guys to pick up on a few things that Alexandria said there. One, communicate in a manner with your clients, leads, advocates, whomever, in a manner that they want to be communicated with. If they want to talk on the phone, pick up the phone. If they want to text, send them a text. Another thing, and obviously this texting concept, platform, arena is so big. We've actually adopted a few different things in our office to further exacerbate the success that we have with texting. One is our text code, and for those of you watching, you can see we've got one scrolling across the bottom of our screen. We actually use that code for a number of different things, for our coaching company, for our mortgage company. And then we also use some third-party software platforms, some plugins. Because I drive it, and again, yes, I'm old, we're running a Samsung platform pretty much all across the board. My watch, phone, tablet, laptop, computer, Chromebook, televisions, everything is Samsung. And we run a third-party app called Mighty Text that basically allows everybody in my office to see what goes in and out of my phone via text, and send group texts, and schedule texts, and do all kinds of those great things. So really find yourself, if you can, embed yourself into doing good lead gen via text, that there are apps out there that can enable you to make that even more productive. And I want to, this is my own personal opinion, I want to delve a little beyond the texting, because something that we have found really, really successful as of late is that if you can send somebody a text, send them a Facebook message. It's the exact same result. You send copy, they reply with copy. The methodology is the same, the activity is the same, the result is the same, but you guys are then taking advantage of how heavily weighted the Facebook Messenger system is in the Facebook algorithm and what that does for your edge rank, thereby making it plausible that more people will see, more of your audience, your Facebook audience, will see more of the things you're posting on Facebook. So when you have that thought that I'm going to send a text, think, is it something I could send via Facebook Messenger as well, and see if that doesn't help you guys in your social media activities while still conveying your actual hard text copy messages back and forth with whomever you want to communicate with that way. So, Alexandria, thank you. I'm going to shut up there because, like you, I could run on and on and on about lead generation stuff like you can about real estate stuff. And I certainly want to make sure that people understand that there's, how do I put this nicely and bluntly? The technology kinds of things that we're adopting, that Alexandria is adopting, are not going anywhere, guys. If you're acting as a Luddite, if you're sticking your head in the sand with the kinds of technological aspects that are available to you in your lead generation activities today, you're gonna hurt yourself. I see a lot of old timers who still believe in their bus bench, in their grocery cart ad, whatever the case may be, and somebody like Alexandria comes along, understands the technology, social media, texting, video, whatever the case may be. She's doing all of it at no cost versus the exorbitant amount of money being shelled out in old school methodology, and she's crushing you guys because she's adopting and implementing. All right, so that's enough of my soapbox for you bus bench and grocery cart guys that are out there. Alexandria, what are you going to take on in the next couple of years? What's making you salivate? What's whetting your appetite for future activities and lead generation tactics?
So I actually have a passion for helping others, and I'm working on not being a control freak with myself, and I need a team so that I do have a TC, but I'm talking about I need an assistant. I need an admin before I can do what my passion is for, and that is actually to coach others. In a standpoint of brand new agents to getting them to a level where I'm at. I absolutely love it. It's very rewarding, and you are not only helping them as an individual, but you get to help their families grow as well, which is huge to me. And the bonus part is you're learning the whole way with them, which is huge.
That is huge. And I couldn't support that enough. I have a really smart, robust team at my mortgage office, multiple people working in transactions. Jen helps us with some marketing stuff, bookkeeping and office management and processing and so on and so forth. So I would get behind that 100%. And I think that's true for all of you. If you're in real estate, I think a TC is uber important. I think having an assistant is uber important. And I think one of the general things that Jen and I have put out there over the years is that if you hired an assistant part-time, 20 hours a week, $20 an hour, that's what, $400 a week, let's call it $1,600 a month, you would free up 80 hours of your time, 80. Could you find one more transaction in 80 hours? Does that one transaction pay you more than $1,600? I'm going to pause there for dramatic effect. The answers are obviously yes, and yes, all of you need an assistant. And we have some techniques and tactics on how to find that person and what kinds of activities they should be doing, how they become a full-time employee, how the two of you then add another part-time employee, and how it just grows from there. But yes, we would absolutely be in support of that kind of activity for you too, Alexandria. Tell us about your TC, though. What kind of activities does that person do for you?
So I've been in real estate for a long time, and I literally just hired a TC a couple months ago.
Oh, you've been working hard. We've seen your numbers. We know what you're up to, so you've been working hard.
So, again, control freak, and so I've only had her in place since about July, and with having her from July to now, September, I'm closing 5. I have a goal of closing 24 more, having 24 more families at the end of the year, and with her being in place, it's given me more time to go find that business. Again, I was doing all the small little paperwork pieces, and she literally does from the minute it goes under contract until it closes. She does everything, all communication with the buyer's agents, with listing agents, everything from top to bottom, where I was on the phone constantly. But now I'm on the phone in a different way, finding more pieces of business and more families to help.
And you made the important point there that her taking on those tasks enables you to go out, do your lead generation, find those 24 families that you still want to help in the next 100 days.
Correct.
Okay. I really hope the audience is tuning into that. That's why she's doing it, guys. Her job is to generate leads, to find buyers, to find sellers. That's what goes on in that kind of activity. For the most part, everything else that Alexandria has been doing all this time, and I can't believe you've been doing it all on your own all this time. It's really impressive.
Shame on me.
No, not necessarily. It just means you haven't had any time to sleep or eat or bathe in the last 5 years, but that's fine. But without Alexandria doing those activities, those lead gen activities, there's no, she wouldn't need a TC. There are no such things as inspections or contracts or negotiations or agents on the other side of the table or lenders that she's got to deal with or final walkthroughs or closings. None of that exists without her doing her lead generation. So she's figuring out, and I agree, being a control freak myself, it's hard as hell to start pushing some of that stuff off. But she's now identified the fact that doing such enables her to do more of the lead generation activities because she's the only one that can do that. She's the only one that can influence her sphere. She's the only one that can further her relationship with those people. So she's spending her time doing those kinds of activities while all those other details are things that you can pay someone else to do. So really, I hope you guys are really well keyed in on what Alexandria is saying there, because it's a very, very big deal. All right, so Alexandria, this is all brilliant stuff. This is one of the greatest interviews we've had by far. Jen, am I missing anything? Are there additional questions? I didn't see any others come in on the broadcast feed. Is there anything you want to ask, Alexandria?
No, this has been great, though. Thank you.
Of course, thanks for having me.
All right, well, Alexandria, don't get me wrong. Some of our viewership is absolutely from the consumer base. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to learn how to connect with you, work with you, not necessarily just consumers in this case. If you guys are listening, Alexandria is teaching and training other agents as well, so there's a rife opportunity for that as well. So, Alexandria, tell us, what's the best way to find you? Phone, email, your social media handles, a carrier pigeon, lay it on us.
So you guys can find me, I'm sure, on the link I've been tagged on with the Facebook video. You can find me there. That is my personal / business. My personal cell phone number is 720-495-7494. Shoot me a phone call, a text. Would love to meet and, mastermind with any of you guys. And if you have any quick questions, about what I'm doing to make things happen, reach out to me.
Fantastic. And for those of you watching and don't really know, there is something of a vetting process for our guests on How I Met Your Mortgage. I will attest to the fact that Alexandria is doing the work. In fact, apparently up until recently, Alexandria was doing all of the work. She was handling every aspect of a very productive real estate practice, so she would be an amazing resource for you guys. And again, obviously a very big deal, she's got an abundance mindset. We come across a lot of agents that don't want to help their brethren, don't want to coach colleagues because they have a mindset that there just isn't enough business to go around, and Alexandria is not of that mindset at all. You guys can tell just from what she's been willing to share with us here today. So, Alexandria, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot express it enough. And for those of you watching, if you'd like to be a guest on How I Met Your Mortgage, use that text code scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can text TIPS to 63566. And there's all kinds of other information there about our coaching platform, how to find our weekly video blog, how to sign up for our monthly phone tip, how to get a copy of my book, Just the Tips. So, yeah, please feel free to exercise that as well. Alexandria, don't go anywhere. I'm going to run our extra and sign off, but I've got a couple of bits of information for you once we're done. So, again, thank you for joining us. And for those of you watching, either live or in syndication, thank you for joining us this week. And we'll see you guys on Monday.